Well, good morning everyone. Welcome to the video today. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the channel. Just wanted to give some quick context. I'm sitting here editing one of the upcoming videos today that we're going to upload soon. Stick around, hope you check that out. It's going to be some additional scouting, and also we got a really cool fishing trip coming up where we had somebody on the boat catch about a 40-inch fish. It was really awesome. Tough fishing, but we'll talk about some of those tips later. Just wanted to give some context on the video today. We went in on an MLD property here in Texas where it's super thick, big woods. We found what seems to be like a potential bedding area on a piece of property that nobody really goes, so I really wanted to check it out. And the strategy was to actually walk around the bedding area, walk that transition line, look for trails coming in and out, check for that historic sign, look for any additional current signs, see how they might be using the property. So hope you enjoy the video, check out the maps. Hopefully the content will help you understand the strategy and maybe have something similar like that on your property or somewhere that you hunt. So check it out. We'll see you at the end of the video, and thanks for stopping in. Well, good morning guys. Thanks for checking in with me this morning. We're here on another whitetail scout. We are back on the MLD property. We came in this morning, it's about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you can see behind me I'm standing in an old clear cut that wasn't replanted, and our property goes from here north. I've been waiting to scout this piece for a year and a half. And I'm working my way over to this transition right here between this clear cut and this tree line, and I'm working my way north. I can't wait to get back there and see what we find. Dad and I got up early this morning, got in the truck, got loaded up, headed out. We stopped along the way, got us some Go Juice, fueled up, jumped back in the truck, and we got out here early. Dad's back at the camp. The hawk up here, he's not happy that I'm here. Dad's back at the camp getting things straightened out, and I'm headed back here. I got some high expectations for this area, so stay tuned guys. Thanks for sticking with me. Welcome to the Honed Hunter. So I've been back here all of about 8 seconds, and I just fell down that embankment right there. Just fell. Ran my GoPro all through the mud. Spent the last 10 minutes cleaning it out. Just fell. I mean, look at all this. Look at this ridiculous what I'm carrying. You know, it is funny because my dad, I think sometimes he likes to pretend that I don't have a camera out. That way he just doesn't have to address it, because you know my dad he's just one of the ones where it's, you can't tote that camera around here and hunt deer. Well, yeah, Dad, but I'm trying to. You gotta put that stuff down if you're gonna kill any deer, son. That's pretty much the way it goes. So it's hilarious to me. So, all right, back to scout. All right, guys, I'm back here down to the first point that I wanted to get to. I'm about to cross over this little low point over into this clearing where I could see on a map where I could get some sunlight. So behind me was a high point with a ridge. It kind of drops down in here, and there's a drainage right here, but it crosses right across this tip. There's some big oaks in here, right here, and I wanted to cross right over into this new young pine plantation and vegetation, because it looks like easy early season bedding for them to just get up and walk right over here, feed in here, and then work out back to that clear cut that has all of that early season browse vegetation between the partridge peas, and there's a little bit of wild rye up there, but there's just so much browse. But I'm fixing to ease over here and check this out. I'll show you on the map where I'm at and where I'm about to cross into. So I just got to edge of this young pine plantation. See how thick it gets behind me, and check out this trail coming out of here. There's a few rubs going in it. All the way out. Funnels out here into this open right here. And the trail goes back to the right where I came from and back up there. So this is what I wanted to see so far. Let's keep going. Here we go, that's what we're looking for right there. That little rub right here. Going straight up into the thick bedding. You can see how thick it is in there. They're probably not going to go in there and bed that far. So I'm still walking this little bitty ridge top that's like 6 yards wide down the middle of this cut. And I'm just looking for these trails. I'm in the middle of a ridge with a lot of big timber and a lot of this new pine growth on both sides. So what I'm doing is walking down the middle of this ridge, trying to spot these trails coming out of what can only be bedding. There's really nothing in there biologically that's going to benefit them with that thick of pines. It's a lot of needles in there, and they're not going to go in there and bed too far. They're going to go in there on the edge back here if there's no pressure, pop out and work their way down this nice pretty little ridge behind me. It's pretty sweet so far. I like it. There you go. Anybody need a mattress? I swear it never ceases to amaze me what you will find. It's actually starting to open up. There's an old path right here, so we need to look on the map, check and see what this path is. Here we go, we're walking along, and here's a trail coming up out of a high point down into this bottom. So here's what I'm looking for. This spot right here behind me. Up behind me you can see how this trail goes up. And up behind me you can see some real high trees way in the back. So what I'm looking at is this spot. Nobody hunts back here. It's on the southern part of the property. There's no ATV access. There's really not really walking access. This is the southern portion of the property, and when you have a north wind, it seems like a lot of deer get pushed back here, and there's a lot of good bedding back here, and this little bench that runs back here seems like it'd make for an awesome cruising spot. As well as once you get out there to the point like we talked about earlier, there could be some opportunities for some early season kills out there closer to that clear cut where we've got all that natural vegetation growing. But we're fixing to walk up here, and we're going to work our way around this little point right here. There's a bunch of slopes down to the right, so I want to walk around it on that second or third line on the top of the map, and I want to see what it looks like coming down in here. So I mean, we just get up this trail right here on the transition. I didn't walk 8 steps from where I talked to you last. You can see behind me there's this little gap right here, and I'm following this trail straight in. And check this out. There we go. That's what we're hoping to find. That's what we're hoping to find. Got to keep following it back in, see where it goes. So I'm working my way back in here. It's not opening up like I'd hoped it would. It's getting super thick, even though I'm staying on the transitions. Still staying pretty thick, but I was encouraged because I wasn't seeing much sign past the last one when we first got in, when we first came up. I last talked to you there, but so I turned around. I started thinking to myself, you better start looking back, because right there is where I'm seeing rubs and stuff going out. I've seen 1 or 2 coming in, but I've been turning around and I'm seeing some coming out on a trail right on it, or 6 feet the other way. Which, guys, to me, when you see rubs going in and coming out, you're very close to bedding. And if you look behind me, I'm right along all of this thick edge. You can see a little bit of skyline, but that's because All of this right here is super thick. It's so hard to navigate, but knowing that they're coming up here, working their way south, down to that ridge possibly, or up here to some of these oaks, you get a pattern for how the deer are using the land, and you can come back and scout it, look for the fresh sign to set up, and that's really the ultimate goal. So we'll keep moving. So I found another heavy trail coming out of this thick pine right on the edge where it stays real thick. What I found was a rub that has killed the tree, but what will happen is the bucks will come by and they'll actually bite the top of the stripped tree or stub, whatever it is, and they'll rake their teeth from bottom to top. And you can see that because of the way the bark is kind of stretched skyward. You can see where they're raking it up, and that's a good signpost. It's a good scent post. Let me know if you've seen anything like that before, where you find these rubs or a dead stub where the bucks, where it looks like they could have possibly been biting it and raking their teeth up. Seen them do it before, seen videos of them doing it, so it's interesting to find that stuff and recognize it for what it is, because that's a heavy scent point. That is a crossroad where deer will leave their scent, you know, just like they would like in a scrape. So see us down here and see if we can get in this trail some. So this spot here seems to be really encouraging, so I kept working my way up. You can see behind me there's several white oaks, live oaks, all kinds of cluster. There's a post oak right behind you, big live oak to my right. I mean, there's several right in here. You can see the ground behind me, how it's laid down. So this is a huge oak flat right as this ridge crests over the top, and then way down there you can almost see across a little valley right here, and there's all kinds of trails coming up and over it. So this could be a really good, when the oaks are dropping, this could be a really good early season spot when they're escaping that pressure from the northern part of the property, like I said, because we're on the southern tip. So this is cool. I like this. So the transitions, guys, it's not all about hunting the transitions, but how they use it, where the intersections are, and where they're going. And once you can see those trails, you can follow them up, follow them back down, follow them up, and see why they come up here. All those trails, when I walked up here and found what was up here, it makes sense. So keep going. All right, guys, I'm slowly working my way around out of here. I walked around this whole potential bedding area, and there's a lot of trails coming up out of it, which is about what I expected. It's not like you're gonna find a defined beat down path that the same deer use on the same trails, but what I'm sitting on right now is a bench. You know, as much as you can believe it, in the big piney woods and the big woods in Texas, you can still find benches. If you look up behind me, see those trees that reach up and touch the sky? I'm sitting on the bench where the hill goes up behind me, and the trail comes from my left, falls off to my right, and I just happen to be sitting by a huge rub right over here. I kicked it a little bit, so I'm not trying to make you think this thing was rubbed recently, but it is a big rub. I knocked a piece of bark off of it, so, but it is right here. And like I said, guys, the whole reason I wanted to get to this, it's not easy to hunt, but to me, we had a lot of nighttime movement last year, and when the wind blows out of the north, we camp on the northern half, the northern point really, and I think we push a lot of deer back here. So even during the rut, but especially late season, there's different phases for these different types of sort of terrain and topographic elements that you could take advantage of back here, but you got to know how the deer are using it. I'm getting out of here slowly. I can hear Dad now. I told you, you can't tote that stuff around that seven woods all day, son. You carried half that stuff back there. What'd you do? Let's go. All right, guys, it's the end of the day at our scout here on the MLD property. Let's summarize what we did today. So we literally walked a circle around a bedding area in Texas. So circled around, what it did was identified points coming up out of that bedding area by finding rubs coming in and out, pinpoint some early season, some oak flats, and really that area was on the south side of a high ridge. So I'm looking for that area with a north wind, with the wind coming over the top, and deer to be bedded along that southern ridge, out of the wind, filtering down into those oaks while there's still acorns on the ground and a lot of good browse and a lot of big timber. The backside doesn't get much pressure, so that's where I want to be later when that wind's out of the north and they're getting out of that wind and they're on the other side of that ridge. They're just simply, almost all the time, they're not going to bed on that other side. They might move around it, they might travel a certain way, but that was our goal. So I'm here at camp now. You can see here, this is your classic East Texas camp right here. So a lot of you can probably relate. So Dad's cooking up some good tenderloins. We're gonna have some brats. We're gonna enjoy the evening. Appreciate you guys tuning in today, and really hope you learned something. If this video added some value to you guys, just like it and subscribe if you would. It'll help us out going forward, and it'll help us grow as a community and us together, help us communicate more. If you got any questions or comments, add it down below and we'll talk about it. So I'm here to learn from you guys as well. So actually, painful point, we saw a huge velvet buck today and I did not get it on camera. Huge buck. I don't even want to talk about it. So we're gonna go eat, we're gonna get a good night's sleep, but we're having a good time. Guys, thanks for joining us here on The Honed Hunter. Thanks for being with us this evening, and we'll see you now on the next video.
Oh, so long for now. I'm grown so tired this time.